Good evening. Hello. I am back on a stream. It's been a while. It's been since what was it now? 2022 was the last stream that I did. I think it was February 2022. Yeah, it's good to be back. Hello to everyone. Good evening. We've got a few people in the chat already, so hello to everyone there. Let me know if the audio is a little bit out or anything like that. I can adjust it as necessary. This is all a little bit ad hoc at the moment. I'm not sure. I'm going to get back into it. I've got as much as I can set up, but hopefully we're going to have a good evening of kitbashing stream. So let's say hello to a few people who are in the chat already. Through quite a few people. Got some followers straight away as well. Thank you. TSU Cork, hello. Welcome to the stream. J Train Shores, Masterman, Cresselak, Kermit TV, Mevharius, Egnor. I'm going to say hello to everyone. There's getting a quite a few people in the stream in the chat, so hello. Yeah, so hopefully everything works okay. I've got my little stream deck down here, so I can, fingers crossed, do some camera angles and it all goes to plan and nothing goes wrong. So let's try this. There we go. Okay, so I've got face cam, I've got tabletop cam down here. What I'm going to do in this stream is also recording a video at the same time. So it shouldn't make any difference to you guys, but there might be some scenes where it looks like I'm holding the shot for a little bit longer because it makes it easier to edit. So hopefully if this stream works well, this idea works out well, it'll be a video and you can literally see it being made behind the streams. So let's notifications a little bit loud. Let's drop that right down. Thank you very much. I'll double check this is the case on all of them. How's that? Is that any better? We'll see. Cool. Right. J Train Shores, I saw you in person at Warhammer Fest. You're a lot taller than I expected. So the thing is, a lot of people who watch my videos and don't actually see my face in any of these are quite surprised usually by my face. They don't put the voice to the face, which is quite strange. A lot of people think I'm older as well. No. Right. Okay. Cool. Right. Perfect. So if you saw on Instagram or YouTube or any of my socials, you might have an idea of what my idea for this video is going to be. I have no idea if it's going to work or not. I've not tried anything. I've just got an idea and we're going to give it a go. Mainly because I thought it was cool and I thought you guys might like to see it. I'm going to be dipping into the chat every now and again as well, so feel free to answer any questions. I might not see everything, but if I do, I will try and answer it. This is going to be a little bit of a hangout, a little bit of a tutorial to a degree as well. And also you can see the process that I go through when I'm developing a kitbash. So yeah, hopefully. Oh, Kabuski. Hello, Kabuski. Good to see you. Again, if I've mentioned Kabuski quite a few times in various videos. If you haven't done so already, check them out on Instagram, I think on Twitter as well. Yeah. Fantastic digibasters. Awesome work. Is that camera focusing on this microphone? Yeah. Cool, thank you. Right, okay, so the idea of the video, if you didn't already see it, was I have some Kroxigor and I also have some venom throps, and the idea that I had was based on the fact that I've been watching that Guillermo del Toro Netflix series, was it Cabinet of Curiosity? And there's a lot of kind of Eldritch, horror, Cthulhu, Lovecraftian inspired stuff in there. So I thought maybe it would be cool to have some sort of lizard man Eldritch horror thing. So I'm going to be using these as a base because I really like these new Kroxigor miniatures. They're fantastic. And then taking a few gribbly bits from these venom thropes. So that's the idea. We'll see. We've got a couple of hours to do that. What else have we got? When are you getting that sweet cowboy hat, by the way? I do actually have a cowboy hat. I got it from Texas last year. It doesn't say dead animal bits on it. It's a bit bigger than the one in the Photoshop. So, yeah, cool. One thing I'm going to change, I can actually hear my own voice in the feedback. I think there is some sort of monitoring. Let's turn that off. Also, I apologise for the dog bark in the background. The neighbours have just got a little yappy dog, and they just kick it outside and let it sit there barking, and every now and again go out and shout at it. I was hoping you couldn't hear it on the microphone, but right. I need to remember how to use. I did say this was going to be a bit of a kind of a test stream to see how everything worked first. Where are we? I forgot how to use OBS. Advanced. Save changes now. Okay. Anyway, we'll leave it. I might just go without that for the time being. Let's leave those. I'll sort that out another time. I think I'd left it on from testing and I completely forgot to change it. Right, okay, so these guys and these guys. This is going to be the base. This is going to be where I get all my extra bits. I've got a few other bits in here. So let's just switch to the face now. So this is basically how I store my bits boxes. This is my Flesh Eater Quartz. You can see there. FEC, Flesh Eater Quartz. And this is how I essentially store everything. Everything I get, if it's on a kit spirit still, I'll group it into one of these boxes, and then I've got just piles and piles of them in my garage. So this is my Flesh Eater Quartz, and we're hopefully going to get some bits from here at some point, but yeah, we'll stick to the main build for the time being. Okay, so it's going to be nice and straightforward. Let's get back to this table cam. Table face, there we go, perfect. Thank you for all the followers as well. I think since I put out the notifications, I went from about 300 followers on Twitch to, what is it now, 404. Thank you very much for everyone who's following me. I really appreciate it. Let me know if the audio, I'm going to be a bit close to the microphone, so I'm just going to adjust it there. If it's a bit loud, let me know. Right, instructions. So yeah, the idea really is to kind of build the cheer, thank you for the bits. Big thank you. First bits of the stream, I believe. Thank you very much. That's why I was hoping to have the headphones on so I could actually hear people when these notifications went up, but I've just left the monitoring on, so unfortunately can't do that. Right, okay. So, which one of these shall we go for? I'll put this in stream so everyone can see what we're looking at here. So we have a few different options in this, if you're not aware of the actual kit itself. So you have the Warspawned, which have this more of like kind of crocodilian head, and then this like the actual Kroxigor themselves, which are more like just like Saurus Warriors on steroids. I think this one's going to be the one I'm going to go for. I quite like that crocodilian head. So we're going to find the section on Warspawned, which is just a head option, I think. Choose the variation that we want. So let's go through these, shall we? Let's go for this guy. Quite like the look of this one. So we're going to need to grab all of these components off the sprue for this guy. Right. We need 87 and 88. Now plays the find the components on the sprue game. The first bit on dead animal bits, for shame. I know, I agree. So I don't use Twitch very often, so this is all new to me. But apparently we've got a hype train that's very close, which is a good thing apparently on Twitch. So we'll see if that kicks off. I've seen a few people doing it. Dasmore Wargaming, how's it going? I think I've dropped in a few of your streams, so I think it's good that you come and pester me in my streams as well. So thank you very much for turning up. 87. Right, are we actually going to have the right sprue here? 86, 87, 88. Let's grab those first. So something that I've been doing recently is, oh, we've got to subscribe. Thank you very much. Where is that? JJ Waterboy, subscribe at tier 1. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And we also have the hype train, apparently, 68%. I have no idea what that means, but that's good. Thank you very much. Let's carry on. You can see that I'm a real idiot when it comes to Twitch. I'm okay with YouTube. I've been doing it long enough to figure it out. When it comes to Twitch, I'm just like, I have no idea what's going on. We'll get there. Planning on doing this for the next few months, at least. Over on Twitch, I'll probably get back to YouTube at some point. I was just kind of hoping to build up a little bit of following over on Twitch as well. Lots of cool stuff on here that I want to try out. Maybe do some gaming at some point. For the time being, we're just going to do this on here. Soresco, I don't know how Twitch works either. Yeah, we can all learn together. That's a great thing today. We can all learn together. Kermit TV, thank you very much for subscribing with Prime. I do appreciate that. If you are a Prime member, Amazon Prime member, you can actually subscribe with Prime as well. So we had Master Merman asked me to hydrate, so there we go. I have a bottle of ice water here, so we're gonna hydrate. And we also had, oh god, why don't people just have simple names on Twitter and Twitch? Aracon Bravestorm, actually, it was better than I thought it was. Okay, how Eldritch are you currently thinking? Okay, well, let's actually get this down whilst I'm clipping these parts away, because otherwise it's just going to be basically watching a paint dry stream, except you're just going to be watching me clip away parts. So the idea of it is the basic body itself is going to be pretty much the same as the original kit. We're not going to change too much. We're going to go for some maybe like the tentacle bits hanging around the jawline, and then maybe some tentacles and other things flowing out from the back as well. I've also got a few flesh eater quartz, so I might go for some spikes maybe. I'm not sure. Let's just, for an aside, so this is a Act on Cthulhu book. Now, I have a habit of getting these books, never actually to play these games, but just because the artwork's really cool. So it's pretty cool to kind of look at. Use for inspiration. It's a really nice, shiny, gilded book there as well. So there's been a few little things in here that I've been looking at and reading about for various monsters. I also play things like Arkham Horror, Eldritch Horror, those kind of things. So lots of inspirations. This is what we're after. These kind of tentacles and stuff like that. That's exactly what we need for this. So yeah, that's the inspiration. If anyone has any ideas or suggestions, then please do feel free to leave them. This is going to be a bit more of a collaborative video. I'm not going to be doing this all myself. Let's stop into the chat a bit. Desmond Wargaming. Do what I do then. Streaming and blag your way through it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just pretend that you can do it. And keep going. Just keep going. Try it out. See how it goes. A whole ball of green stuff with tentacles. I mean, that's the easiest way to do it, isn't it? Really, if we just do that, crack on with that. Very, very straightforward. Very, very simple. Let's just keep an eye on that. Cool. Okay. I've clipped away 2 parts so far. We've been in the stream for 15 minutes and I've clipped away 2 parts. This is going to be a long process. What have I got now? 86, 85. We need 87, I think. Where is 87? 87. There. Got it. It's like an advent calendar. Except for every piece behind the window is a piece of plastic. 85. Let's grab those for the time being, and then we can make a good start. So if you saw on the painting phase, one of the things I was complaining about on there was the fact that I often do kit bashes, and then Games Workshop release the kit later on, and this almost happened with these Kroxigor. I was basically thinking, the old Kroxigor were looking very old. I think they got released. Now I know Lizardmen got released around about 2003 time. The original, like the current Skinks really, and the old Saurus Warriors, because that's when I got my first White Dwarf. So I remember that being the issue. We had the big release of Seraphim, or Lizardmen as they were back then, and they were at least as old as that, I think. So they were looking dated. So I thought, well, maybe we could do a video. Maybe I had some ideas. I was going to use crypt ghouls as the basis and try and figure out some sort of like more monstrous head. Just basically because I quite like the idea of a full Kroxigor army. And I very almost did it. And I was probably about 2-3 weeks away from starting it, and then Games Workshop announced that the new Kroxigor will be coming out, so I'm glad they didn't. But we'll see. Oh no, I've scrolled by accident and I've suddenly lost a load of the chat. Okay, let's scroll back a little bit. Okay, we've got the hype train success at level 2, and if you are on my Discord channel, then you'll notice the little emojis that I decided to use there. There you go. I've received a level 1 hype train emote. Amazing. I have no idea what that means, but it sounds good. It's good. Okay, right. Let's go. Let's scroll back. I didn't actually realize that. I thought no one was talking. Sounds small scale through at the moment. Yeah, I'm not going to have it. So he's still going to have the mouth. He's going to have more kind of. There is an idea. There's a picture I found on my phone. I couldn't find it later on, but some really nice. If you basically just search for Eldritch lizards, it kind of comes up on that. Moon presence from Bloodborne might be a rough silhouette to take a look at. The head tentacles with those around the hips could work well. So I've played Bloodborne. I completely know how long ago. I can't remember any of the names of the characters or the bosses, but Moon presence. Was that the one where you dive into the water? Was that one? Or am I getting confused? You've been unlucky enough to experience one of my streams, Desmond Wargamer. Have you decided on a colour scheme yet? Probably something quote-unquote grimdark. That's usually something that works quite well. Old Kroxigor was 2005, I think. Yeah, so close to 200 years. Want the Raptors and Riders just for the Raptors, honestly. They're nice. Headphones are making noise. You could look at the Bulwark Grawn enemies from Borderlands 3. I might have a look at that. Moon Presence was the secret final boss. It's the one that descends from the Blood Moon. Did I do that? I completed Bloodborne. I'm currently playing Sekiro at the moment because I played Dark Souls 3. It was the first Dark Souls game I ever played. It was crap at it. So I didn't play any From Software games. And then Elden Ring came out. I got really into it and completed it. Then I went back and played Bloodborne, completed that, and then got most of the way through Dark Souls 3, and then decided to play Sekiro. So I'm currently on that one at the moment. So yeah, they all kind of start blending into one at some point. But Bloodborne's great. Bloodborne is kind of like, I mean, I don't, spoiler alert, just mute the stream for like 30 seconds. But the fact that starts off as this kind of Victorian horror kind of game, and then it all suddenly devolves into this Eldritch horror deal, was like pretty cool. Really nice presence. And I wish I was into it at the time when it kind of originally released, because you can get hold of like art books and stuff like that, and there's usually really good inspiration in those kind of things. So let's cleaning these up. Let's get the old scalpel. We got that here. Right, okay. I'll be in shot here. So I'm using auto. I don't normally use autofocus, right? I'm going to leave that for a second because I forgot to record. So I need to show my usual piece of the video where I clip away the parts. So it was 69 viewers. Thank you very much, everyone, for viewing and coming along, checking out this excuse of a stream. I've lost the sprue. What is going on today? Right, okay, so we need, let's cut away some of the tail parts. I'm going to record these. So 95, we're going to get this in shot. Ready? You're seeing recording being done. So we're recording. Perfect. Let's clip that away. So if you come to watch my channel in a few weeks' time, once this has been done, you will actually get to see all of this again. Aren't you lucky? But it'll be nicely edited and cut down. So you have to put up with all this waffling, drivel, sidetracking, talking about Bloodborne. Number 1, where's that from? Is that component 1? What does that mean? Step one. Step one, okay. I figured it out. It's not like I've been building Warhammer kits for 20 odd years. 97. Why didn't I just put 97 there? Okay. '97. Is that enough footage? Do we need any more footage? No, let's leave it there. Okay. Start that recording. Let's also the shielded neurocytes from the Leviathan box and the parasites on the back as a course concept, maybe like a mind flayer, slowly grafting onto a bigger, runnier creature. And that actually sounds very similar to the original plan that I had for doing some Leviathan Marines, and that was basically to have that kind of parasite deal going on, so that it had some Space Marines that had been infected. So whilst they could never be Gene Stealer cults, they could have maybe some sort of mind flayer which implants it on it and starts taking control of the Space Marine. I thought that might be a cool idea. So yeah, that would actually work quite nicely. JJ Waterbury sent you my Kitbash Sanguiner made from base Bayard's Revenge and some Sanguinary God bits. You said it was well done, and that made my day. Well, if I remember rightly, it was actually very, very well done. I think it's one of those things that I always really enjoy is when people, if you ever post anything on Instagram and you've used like my videos as inspiration, then please do tag me. I always love to see what people have been doing it. And yeah, thank you very much for everyone who does watch my videos and is watching the stream. And yeah, we're going to be getting back on topic again because I keep going off drivel. Right. So we're going to record a little bit more. Hopefully this autofocus works. Perfect. And then we're just going to show me cleaning these bits up. And you can imagine me just going, I removed the parts from the sprue and cleaned them up of any sprue tabs and mold lines. I do hope that sound isn't too grating. Do apologise if anyone is getting a bit freaked out by my knife use as well. I always get comments about how I'm using the knives. Strangely enough, I don't get cut by them. It's a weird thing where the sharper your knife is, the less likely you are to cut yourself because you're not applying much pressure, so you have more control of the blade. And if you do slip because you weren't applying much pressure, you can kind of catch yourself a bit more easily. That's one piece done. I'm trying to get through this as quick as I can, really, because we want to make sure that we can actually get to some of the more interesting kit bashing steps. Whilst I'm mindless to do this, let's see. Oh, we had just scrolled off a bit too quick. That did. Thor, the Sleepy Thunder God, first time here. Just want to say thank you for your great videos. You're very much welcome. Thank you for your kind comments. They actually made me buy my first minis of the week, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. First of all, I'm very sorry because once you buy your first miniatures, that's it then. You're going to keep buying them and you're going to have a lot that you never build and paint because you just want to buy them. So I do apologise, but I'm glad that you're having fun with it. You will continue to have fun with it even though you buy more than you need. Vorny199. When you are scraping, how do you make sure the surface is actually smooth without lots of flat spots? Well, this is the thing. Because I'm using a sharp blade, I'm not applying it with much pressure, so I let the knife kind of follow the surface itself. So let's just find a piece. So for example here, let's just slice that little bit of sprue tab away first. So you can see there's a little bit of a ridge there, so I'm going to try and cut away as much as I can, but then by doing it lightly, it actually just removes that raised part, because the knife itself follows the contours of the piece. So it is a little bit of a dexterity thing as well. You kind of get used to it as you do it, but I actually find this is much more controllable than doing a like an emery board or a file or anything like that. It's much quicker. Sorry, not as quick, but it's a bit more refined. Right. Also, with using sharp knives, it's just about cutting away small amounts rather than if you try to cut a large amount, then again, you're applying more pressure than you need to. It's little amounts, and then that's all you need, really. Well, here's a hobby idea for you. Maybe you can provide some suggestions. I was thinking of combining Votan with the new Necromunda Robocops. So the big walker things that would work quite well actually. You could get some nice of the Ironkin kind of effect with that. It looks pretty cool. It's how I script, it just glides across easily. Correct, Waterboy. That is exactly how you do it. Welsh Mullet, the pile of shame is simply a shrine to the Great Beat. Yeah. The thing is with me, I kind of have an excuse for a pile of shame, but I don't call it a pile of shame anymore. I think someone mentioned to me that it's nice to think of it more as a pile of potential. That's the best way of thinking about it. Welsh Challenge is in a Bob Ross. It's not a pile of shame. There we go. Thank you very much. I didn't actually get that far in the chat, but you've already said pile of potential. Welsh Mullet, thank you very much for your subscription with Prime. Much appreciated. To be honest, if you've messed up and cut into it, it's not the end of the world. Exactly. You can usually cover it up if you really have to. Adarius subscribed at tier 1. Thank you very much, Adarius. Much appreciated. I paint for work now, and I think your videos are a large part of why I got into this hobby at all. So thank you. Thank you very much. You're very much welcome. Thank you very much. Right, hang on. Let me catch up. Morgan 40k subscribed at tier 1. Thank you very much. I'm just trying to keep an eye on this chat and make sure that everyone is getting questions answered and chat shouts out and everything as well. Right, let's see. I'm just going to check my Discord very quickly because there's some people in Discord. Also, if you haven't joined my Discord, please do feel free to. It's not locked behind any Patreon subscriptions as well. Everyone's free to join it. I do have like a little special Patreon only area for channel members and stuff like that. So you can feel free to join that. I don't know if you can do it through Twitch. Can you set it up with Twitch? Subscribers can get access to this. We'll see. I'll figure that out off of air. Yeah, so if you haven't already, I mean, if someone can just like drop the invite in who's in the Discord chat, that'd be much appreciated. There's probably a special way of doing this, but I haven't got that yet. We'll figure it out. I still haven't figured out how to turn the volume off on my microphone going through my headphones. Oh, God. This is going well. Okay, anyway, back to this. So, one more piece to clean up. I might need to clean these up a little bit later when I can kind of really get into them, but just make sure I'm actually doing this on camera as well. Otherwise, you're seeing this really large white square and nothing else. That's pretty cool. The good thing as well about working with these newer kits is that they tend to be better for mold lines. You don't tend to have quite as many, at least initially, until the molds start to wear out and these things happen a bit more. Let's bring in some glue. Let's do a bit of gluing. We can also do a bit of filming as well, did I? Yeah, I did actually forget to start recording on the last bit. Right, let's follow these instructions. So these parts need to go together. How do they go together? Like that, and how, what? So this is the thing, this is what, you don't see this during the all the edited highlight videos that I put out on YouTube. This is how I literally say, how are these parts that go together? How do they even go? Sometimes I actually find it easier to attach it to the other parts to see if, okay, that goes like that, and then okay, let's attach it to this side. That might be easier. We'll try it out. Bring in the Tamiya extra thin. Thank you very much for sharing the Discord link. If I accidentally just invited everyone to my microphone, so remind somehow, I'm sorry. Well, hopefully you didn't. Hopefully everyone is being funneled into my Discord server. Oh no, it's too much. And I do like stream. I'm not as active as I should be in there. I do try to be active, but I tend to be active when no one else is. So I just kind of leave a post and like no one answers me, and then kind of shuffle off and come back a few hours later and see a lot of people have responded, but I didn't actually see the notification because I was building or painting or something. Right. So let's see if we can get this attached this time. Wrong way. There we go. Did it. And I forgot to record it. Great. Let's just get a little bit of a sneaky record there. Cool. There we go. We can squeeze this together. Also, it's really nice because the way they've cut this kit up, you can see that it hasn't actually left much in the way of gaps. There's a little bit of a one there, so let's just try and move those around a bit just to get some of that plastic seeping out. There we go. You can see how the plastic's kind of coming out the gap a little bit, the glue. So when that dries, that'll create more of like a seal then. Saves time to go around with like fillers or anything like that. And this torso should just go on... How does this go on? So it attaches further down. There, got it. Okay, let's film that bit. Perfect. And line it up. Make sure it's on camera, and done. We don't do anything else this stream. We've at least got this kind of half torso. There we go. Right. Let's have a drink and check the chat. Any plans to make more 40k Skaven? So I had quite a few ideas when initially that video came out. I really enjoyed it. But I kind of kept getting an idea and then thinking, no, it didn't really work, and maybe we'll do another idea at some point, but I think I will come back to it. At the moment, there's a lot of other stuff which is higher priority, so I'm just working on those. How far are we into the stream? We're already a quarter of the way into the stream that I planned for. So let's leave that to dry for the time being, and I'm going to give you all a little sneaky peek. This is stuff which isn't going to be out until next weekend, hopefully. As a thank you for joining the first stream, you can see what I've been working on for the next video. So it's another Leviathan kitbash, and I'm using the Stern Guard in there. And the basis of the conversion is the little bit of lore that we had with the Return of the Lion, where some of the fallen angels have become redeemed. So they've kind of been forgiven by Lionel Johnson. And I thought, well, maybe a few of them have become Primaris now, so let's go for it. So I've kitbashed not one, not two, not even three. This is my favorite, by the way, this one. This is my favorite guy. But we actually have 5 kitbash. Actually, this guy isn't. There's a little bit extra for this guy. Let me just grab it. You can't see it there. Here we go. That's how the shield will go. Shield has no bearing in the rules at all, but I thought it might be interesting just to pop the shield in there. It'll just be a little fun little thing to add in thematically. So yeah, it's going to be a Dark Angels Redeemed. I'm going to paint them all in kind of the Horus Heresy era. Black armor with silver bits and red bits. So yeah, it's going to be pretty fun. So yeah. Thank you very much for a couple more first-time chatters. Adarius 2. We also have Squad Jabroni 1, who loves it. Thank you. You can just call the shield as close combat. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's the very generic close combat weapon. It's not a power shield. It's just a big slab of metal that's decorated nicely. He still thinks it's breach. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of. I thought I haven't done any full squad builds for a while. The one that I did for the Imperial Guard was sort of. It was 5 models in one go, but it wasn't actually really a squad. It was just 5 different models. I think the last squad that I did in a full video was maybe the Valhallans. No, it was the Death Guard, but they were all very, very similar. I think the actual every model being individual is probably the Death Guard. There's no rules on how big a tilt shield can be. You're very right. Yeah, it's just a decorative piece. So those are using the new Stern Guard from the 40k Leviathan box. So I also had someone on my Discord. There's a little suggestion channel on my Discord, so anyone who's new to it, check it out. Whilst I don't always respond to everyone's suggestion, I do look at everyone's suggestions, and if I like them, they go in a little Google Doc that I have, which keeps a track of all of the suggestions that everyone's left for me. And I kind of go back to it every and again and just get some ideas of what works well, what's pretty cool. And yeah, one of the things that someone suggested on there was recreating the old Zoanthrope, which kind of, it basically had legs. So the new one is got like the kind of the tentacle body, that one. Hasn't got any legs. And the old one kind of looked like the new Screamer Killer legs. It has the same kind of legs, but with claws and big brain as well, which is quite interesting. Let's get back to the stream there so I can make sure everything's working. There we go. Cool. 420 followers now. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate everyone following me. I think I've gone up for 100 since I put that post up earlier, so thank you. This is going to be a regular thing as well. It's not going to be... I know I've said it in the past, but the advantage is now, when I was doing my streams before, it was literally, I was doing my regular 9 till 5, 5 days a week job, and I was doing Warhammer, so I literally finished work and I would kind of have to get a stream ready and do the stream, and it meant I couldn't do any videos, but now I'm actually doing this all full time. I'm now YouTube full time, so it gives me a little bit more time to do these things. I do really enjoy streaming. It's kind of a nice little way of chatting to everyone outside of the comment section of the videos, because it's not really a flowing conversation. It's all very, you type something, I type something, and I see it in a few hours time I respond. It's not a flowing thing. So I've lost the mouse. There we go. How is new Stern Guard kit? If you can't talk about it too much because it's not strictly out, I can. As of last Saturday, I can talk lots about it. In fact, bear with me 1 second. Let's go on face cam. So everything in this box, I believe I can talk about now. If not, I'll hear from Games Workshop's lawyers, I guess. So what I'll do is I'll actually show you the instructions. It's a little bit of a sidetrack, but also look at this. Is my little focus. Yeah, little painting phase peg from Peachy. I think they're also streaming at the moment as well. I think they're currently streaming at the moment, but stay here. Don't go to their stream. Stay here. Right, let's have a quick look at the. I will get the hang of this. I promise. Ready. Perfect. Right, Stern Guard. You want to see how the Stern Guard. See the instructions. Look, I can show all these off. So these are Stern Guard. The sergeant kind of person. He's not really a sergeant though from the rules. I can see. You basically have a body piece and a leg piece, very similar to Blade Guard veterans in that regard. A few of them have arms sculpted on, so you can see this one here has like a shoulder pad, and I basically just clip that off fairly straightforwardly. A lot of them just have these arm pegs, so you can mix and match the arms. The heads are all separate, you can mix and match those. I would say that the biggest point of difficulty in terms of customization is probably all these like extra detail bits that they have around the belts. They have all the equipment and pouches and everything already sculpted on. You can't really add too much to those. But yeah, regular Space Marine arms work with them. Well, Primaris arms work with them. Work really nicely. So yeah, there's no more options in the kit other than what you see there. That is only what you can build if you follow the instructions. If you want to build anything else, then you're going to have to do a little bit of kit bashing. But hopefully after that video goes live next weekend, you will have a better idea of what you can and can't do. So yeah, let's have a look. Scroll back, scroll back, scroll back. This is the trouble. I start waffling and get on a tangent. Ceresco, congratulations. Thank you very much. I assume that was in relation to me going full time. Yeah, I am very excited about it. It's only fairly recently, so yeah. Stockley's grats as well. Thank you. Whirlwind 91. If that's the year that you were born, that is also the same year that I was born. So we are 91. Brothers, sisters. There we go. Just seen your YouTube community post about Twitch streams. Thank you. I'm glad it's worked. What else have we got? Can't wait to try and get a pre-order in. Now, I'm hoping that the pre-orders are going to be a lot better this time, because the trouble is with what's been going on recently is pre-orders have never been fantastic, to be fair, but they've been awful, particularly awful recently. And I think the big problem with that is if you watch things like the painting phase, and you can kind of get a nice insight into what has gone on in Games Workshop in the background. And Chris Peachy, he kind of sums it up really nicely. He said that the things with Games Workshop is they're always at capacity in terms of production, and they're not always producing every single kit that they produce all the time. They only have so much production, so they can put a mold on there, they'll do a run on that, and they'll take it off, and they'll put another mold on there. And do a production of that and take it off. So they kind of have to really plan in advance for what they need. Now, I would suspect they've probably been hammering production for Leviathan. I reckon the amount of production that they've been dedicating to Leviathan is far more than they have done to any of the other pre-orders. So hopefully, that with the kind of anti-bot stuff that they're hoping to do, hopefully the queue system works and the limit per customer works. But what I would also do is I would also make sure you check out independent retailers, Element Games, Alchemist Workshops, Wailing Game, anything like that. If you use Element Games, I've got an affiliate, so you can jump on that and I get a little bit of a kickback, so I would appreciate it. So yeah, check those out if you can't get it from Games Workshop. They also have it as like a discount as well. I think someone told me to hydrate as well, so let's go for that. Let's have a drink. Gaian Spirit, I feel like it's yet again time to ask about Commander Farsight, Champion of Khorne. I do have ideas, it's on a list. I keep tweaking ideas about what to do. It will be there. Maybe, maybe not. Nona V1, there's only one old Marine helmet, right? I know that was a big question regarding the Sternguard kit. Yes, there was only one. But again, you can just put your own on there. The old, I mean, if you look at this guy, this is an old kind of Firstborn Marine, Dark Angels veteran helmet. And it works really well. So yeah, let's go ahead and use those. In the Leviathan box, the only Space Marine I'm going to keep is a Terminator to turn them into a Grey Knight. I wonder where you got that idea from. Let's. I assume there's been a bit of a dip while they've been pumping out Leviathan. Yeah, the scalpers can't even afford them all. I feel like since they're doing a 2-week pre-order, they'll be able to get more out there. Mark 7 helmet. Yeah, let's go all the way down here. All the way down here. Right, perfect. We're caught up. Wonderful. 70 viewers. Thank you very much. We actually, I don't know if we've gone above that at any point, but last time I checked, it had gone back down to 59 because I was waffling. So yeah. Oh, right. Okay. Back to this. We will hopefully. What I will do is even if I won't do any more work on this outside of the stream, and I will kind of continue working on this model on stream, and if the whole video gets done on stream, that's pretty cool. Nice little behind the scenes, and then you can watch the video and see how it all comes together. How's this glued together now? How does this glue together now? Okay, towards the bottom. Cool. All right. Let's dump a little bit of glue on there. And then we can pop. You know what? I'm not going to put this tail spike on yet. We might be able to do something with this. Maybe replace it with some more Eldritch kind of thing. Let's keep that out to one side for the time being. Right, where are we looking at here? 89 and 90. We're back to more sprue clipping, and I've lost. Got it. Got the sprue. Funny, I bought the boarding action Grey Knight when they showed the first time Terminator on stream. Yeah, I know full well now that I've done a Grey Knight, and I've done Grey Knight Kill Team as well. Let's get a bit more comfortable here. I know full well Games Workshop are going to probably release some new Grey Knight models at some point. The old Terminators, Grey Knight Terminators look incredibly small now compared to newer stuff. So hopefully we'll see some improvements there. 89, 90, and 91. 90, we've got it there. There's 94, 91, that's the foot. And we also need one more, which is 89. 89. It's 98. One thing that I wish they could do with these sprues is have the numbers in a different colour plastic. I know it's probably impossible, but if there's some sort of like little marker that it could put into the sprue, and when it cast it, it kind of came up as colours, it'd be so good because you could just very easily see the parts. So what are we looking for? So we're looking for 90, was it? Or 89? I apologise for the riveting viewing. 89. Got it. Got it, guys. Right. Oh, I'm literally reading a comment then, and it might be good to use some sprouting tentacles at the end of the tail, sort of like a flower. Yeah, maybe that's a nice idea. Maybe some. I quite like the kind of obelisks and stuff. There's some of the artwork that I've looked at that people have done based on like Eldritch Horror, Cthulhu, things like that. There's lots of like old kind of Mesopotamian kind of era stuff, and this Aztec style stuff is not quite the same, but is enough of a basis to modify it into that. I would really love if Games Workshop announced Primaris Sanguinary Guard, an updated official Sanguiner, and more Death Company stuff for Blood Angels. Me too. Based on the Black Templars, I would imagine that we will see some sort of Primaris chapter-specific stuff turning up in Primaris form, so hopefully that happens. Did you see anything else other than Warhammer at UK Games Expo that you liked? Yeah, so I'm also a big board game fan as well. There was lots of stuff in there. Here we go. So there's actually something which is quite interesting that I found. Where is it? I've lost it now. Got it. I've got a flyer. I'm going to show the flyer on stream. It's terrible. It's been in my pocket for the whole. So this thing here called Salvage Union. There you go. There's a QR code. There you go. Look, you can all scan it and get this too. So it's basically just a rule set. There's no miniatures for it, but it's like a mech building game. But the artwork's really nice. You can see there. It's kind of really up my street. The idea is you go, I suppose, a little bit like Gaslands. From what I'm aware of Gaslands, is you can go ahead and build your own things and some nice artwork. And if you're familiar with Haynes car manuals, auto manuals, their book cover is styled around that, which is pretty cool. So I quite like that. I also liked and I bought the game Distilled, the board game Distilled. So yeah. I also played a little bit of Moonstone as well. It's quite a nice little game. 12 miles aside. Uses cards rather than dice, which is quite an interesting little thing. Oh, and also I also got some of these. Big fan of Fallout. So I've also got some Fallout Wasteland Warfare, some hard plastic T-45 heavy armor, Brotherhood of Steel. There's also like different weapon options as well. You can get like Fat Man launchers. Oh, that's my compressor. kind of leave it on. Sometimes it just randomly decides to pump air. Laser pistols. I think that's the shish kebab knife. You can see the fat one there. There's also like incinerators and flamethrowers and all sorts in there. So yeah, quite nice. Right. I love the Black Templar models. They're gorgeous. They're very nice. I'm going to try to blue stuff the runes writing on the armor and leg some order, and try to use green stuff to add it to the new Terminator. Yeah, I haven't used blue stuff in a while, but yeah, it'd be nice to give that a go again for a tutorial. You could also implement a tentacle wrapping up the head of one of the war picks, make it look like teeth on the edge aren't embedded there and are actually growing out of the shaft. Yeah, could be interesting. Something more organic. Plastic ones are out. I was waiting for them since they announced. Yeah, so I believe they're for sale now. They were for sale at Wargames Expo. No, Wargames Expo? UK Games Expo. They were available there, so you can. I assume if they're for sale there, probably some places have stuff available at events before they have it anywhere else. But yeah, if you do, give it a check. I was trying to find a good tabletop game to play for my school's tabletop club. And being the president, it's really hard trying to find something. Would you have any recommendations? So, I actually got into Warhammer through a tabletop club, and I was playing Lord of the Rings originally, and then I started into playing 40k and Warhammer Fantasy as it was back then, and that's kind of where I kicked things off. You're probably going to want something, if it's for schools, you want something maybe that you can do a demo game about. Maybe that might be a good idea. Something that's fairly low model count, gives it probably a skirmish game. And I think things like, never played this. I'm not a massive gamer, so it's really hard to recommend stuff on the game mechanics. But a lot of people I know are big fans of Frostgrave. Quite a small model count. It's more like a tabletop skirmish game. Lord of the Rings is actually, I think, from what I've heard speaking to other people, it stayed fairly solid, even when I played it back then. Most of the mechanics are fairly straightforward. You can have smaller armies. I think, like I said, don't quote me on this, but yeah, lots of games out there that aren't necessarily Games Workshop stuff. I'm not sure about Moonstone. It's a good game. It's an interesting concept, but because it's so different to any other tabletop game, it's not really like a good entry and a good experience in learning how other war games work. I've played Bolt Action. I quite enjoyed Bolt Action. Miniatures are pretty cheap for that one. The good thing about that game is that every model is pretty much the same. You don't apart from like a few small differences where maybe some can shoot better, some are better at taking cover. But you don't have any one model that's like a god who can just shoot lightning bolts and kill everyone else. That's what Conflict 47's for. That's a fairly straightforward game. It's an alternate activation game as well, so you don't find that one person just gets bored waiting for the other person to play. I used to play Kings of War. That was quite good as well. Again, cheaper than playing Warhammer games. That's good for like fantasy if you're looking for stuff like that. But again, I am not an expert on gameplay. Miniatures more so, but definitely not gameplay. Anyway, I've paused the chat. Am I missing anything? You could try X-Wing because it's an IP people already know and it's kind of simple rules. Yeah, it is a little bit more expensive to get into, I think, if I remember rightly. The club I do run Hero Clicks and X-Wing in addition to 40k, so we're doing Warhammer Underworlds too. Yeah, that's a good point actually. Warhammer Underworlds is really good and interesting because it's very small, very self-contained. You can buy a star set and you've immediately got enough models in there for 2 people. Everything's push fit, you don't need to paint it, and then already coloured plastic so everyone knows. You get pre-made decks, so it's very much out of the box experience. And if people want to kind of bring in their own miniatures, they can buy their own war bands, things like that. It's quite a good idea. Board game Scythe, yes, I would massively agree. I really enjoy Scythe. Scythe is a great game. In fact, that's kind of what the artwork for that Salvage Union reminded me of as well. even Gaslands could be cool as a small count, and you can have fun messing around with Hot Wheels cars. Yeah, a lot of people always recommend I do Gaslands, and they actually had a stand at the UK Games Expo. But I was there on just the Sunday, and I got there for 10 a.m., which is when it opened, and I basically walked through the hall and got down to where the Element Games stand was, because I'd arranged to meet a few people there. And I basically stood there for about 3 hours just chatting to people. And then it was like 1 o'clock, and I was thinking, I probably should go have a look around. So there's a few places that I didn't actually get a proper look at. I would like to. I probably will go for 2 days next year, because there's just that much stuff going on. If you're ever in the area or can get to it, I would highly recommend it. There was a Warhammer stand there, but I did Warhammer Fest a few weeks ago, and in all honesty, it was better than Warhammer Fest, because it wasn't just one thing. There was loads of stuff going on. You kind of got a bit bored of tabletop wargaming. You could look at the board games. They had just artists there as well selling their stuff. There's lots of really cool, interesting stuff. Lots of RPGs. There's even fancy chess pieces and gaming tables, things like that. So yeah, a bit of everything really. Probably too much to do in one day, especially if you stand chatting to people for 3 hours. Right. Completed another leg. I chose Warhammer Fest over UK Games Expo, regretted it, lots of fun at the fest, but it wasn't enough for 2 days. I was there for 1 day, and I spent most of that day doing the hobby challenge, and even I didn't feel like there was much there, in all honesty. I'm not sure why, because when I've been to previous Warhammer Fest, I've always felt like I've had more to do, there's been more going on, and I kind of came away from them thinking, yeah, you know what, this is more like the Warhammer Fest. This is more like something I feel like I would want to do for several days, but the Warhammer Fest for this year, I don't know if it's just because it's the first one they've done since COVID, or whether or not they're just trying to change the direction of them, or I don't know. They weren't expecting maybe as many people to turn up, so it meant that what they did have there, people just had to queue for. But even then, I think if there was no queues, you could do everything very quickly. And I think that's the problem with everything being very highly focused on one gaming system. Even though Games Workshop do a lot of products, it's all very... 10th edition was coming out. They'd announced 10th edition officially and didn't have enough demo tables. I remember playing, was it 8th edition? 8th edition at Warhammer Fest, and it was great. There's loads of tables, loads of demos in there. Everyone got to go. You had to queue for a little bit, but it was maybe 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes, which is fine, because it was just nice to have a break and chat with the people you were with. But people were queuing for hours. It was ridiculous. Let's have a look. Phil Grimley, from experience of running a club, painting sessions are fun, and Games Workshop will provide a whole bunch of nice stuff for free through the Warhammer Alliance, but folk really want to just get down and paint. Yeah, painting is always a great thing. You don't always have to game. A lot of people quite like the idea of oh, hang on, did you mean get down and play? Yeah, there are a lot of people who just enjoy gaming, but I think painting is quite a good thing to do with groups of people. I ran a class for with Byron Ord from Artis Opus, and we ran a class, and that was pretty cool because there was a really range of people who were painting that. There was a few people who were complete beginners and never painted before, and a few people who got an idea, and we kind of did a little bit of a class and shared a few tips and tricks and things like that, and told them where they were going wrong with certain aspects that they maybe gotten used to painting. And everyone found it good because they could kind of interact with each other. They could see what other people were doing. They could get an idea. If they felt like something wasn't going right, they could ask us, or they could ask some of the people who are with them. Did you test out the AK Interactive cement range? I'm preparing my order for Leviathan and will need most plastic glue, but AK has so many different types of cement. I'm thinking about going for the quick drying extra thin one. Personally, no. I use Tamiya Extra Thin, and I just use this one. That's one I use. I have got another one. I've not tried yet. It's the quick setting one. I've not tried that one yet, but We'll see. Still on 70 views, guys. Get your friends in. Go tell them to watch the stream. Open new tabs and in incognito browsers. Do all that. Get the numbers up. I don't mind. Thank you everyone for joining. I was surprised actually. I've hit 72. There you go. It's worked. I'm surprised we actually hit this many views. I was really surprised because I haven't done anything for a while. I had quite a few followers already from when I did streams in the past, but there wasn't really much that I'd done since. So I thought I'll do a stream and about 5 people will join and we'll have a really good time. But then no, 72 viewers. I've had an even better time. So thank you very much. Right, we've nearly done one page in an hour and 10 minutes. We've nearly done one page. This is progress, guys. This is probably going to take me about 3 months to finish this model. 92, 93, 94. Right, okay, let's find it. We've got fewer components on here, so let's see if we can get these a little bit quicker than last time. 92, 93, 94. We've got 93 already. Perfect. That's two. Where's 93 and 94? There is 94. We've got that. And that is 92 right next to it. Perfect. We've got them all. Slowly getting easier. Breakneck speed compared to how long I take to build. Honestly. To be fair, I'm actually probably being as distracted not much more than I would normally do, because I would basically have Netflix on or something in the background, or I get distracted looking at other stuff or anything really. And so I'd sometimes have to wait for parts to dry. If I've been green stuffing, those have to wait as well, so you kind of get distracted. Even though there could be other stuff that you're doing, like scripting and things like that, you just think, it's just gone. Let's go on the internet for a bit. Kill some time on YouTube. I'm just going to check our Patreon, though. Anyone who is a Patreon supporter, let's switch to the other camera, because I'm going to go off. There you go. Let's check my Patreon, because I did actually say if anyone wants any questions answered, leave them in the comments. But I only put it up like 2 hours before the stream, so I don't think many people have seen it. So if you're a patron, if you're a Patreon supporter, jump on Patreon, leave me a comment and I'll answer your question. Right, okay, where were we? Let's get back to Tabletop and Face. There we go. Lovely, 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 lovely. Have you heard that Tamiya Airbrush Cleaner has almost the same ingredients as their cement, but comes in a larger bottle and is cheaper? I have heard that, and I've also heard from other people that whilst it's similar, it's not the exact same. So I'm not really sure what to believe, and I don't know. It may be a similar base, but it's not quite the exact same. So there might be some differences going on there. I'm not 100% sure. It'd be interesting to try it out to create some sprue glue or sprue goo. It might be cheaper if it has that same kind of melting property that Tamiya's glue does with plastic. That might be a good thing to try out. Right, that's one done. 1 foot. That one's already done, and this one isn't too bad actually. Come on, let's focus. Chaos Kitbash. What kit would you suggest to make a Demon Primarch Sanguinius? Also love the stream and the content. Now, I'm going to be very coy here because I have a perfect idea, but I'm not going to share it because I've got the idea for a video that I want to do very soon. For doing it, so I don't want to ruin the surprise. I'll give you a clue. It's in the Age of Sigmar range. that's how you get people coming back to your videos. You just refuse to answer questions that could be very easily answered. But no, I want to. I think it's going to be really good when it's done. So don't want to ruin the surprise. Really, I've got a really good idea, and I've been meaning to get around to it. And I probably will do it next after I've done these next few Leviathan builds, just because I'm really excited to do another Demon Primarch, and they always go down well. Everyone really enjoys the Demon Primarch stuff. Right, how's this looking? I might need to go back over this after the stream just to make sure that everything's lining up. Let's have a look. Sigval? No. It's Be'lakor and Sigval, isn't it? No. Demon Snake Lady Marathi. Good suggestion, but no. It depends. Well, it depends really. I'm not going to give you clues as to the direction I'm going with it, because I think that'll probably give it away. So we'll see. Give it a. So I've got a video going. The next video that I've got hopefully going live will be next weekend. So once that's done, I'm probably going to start working on the Sanguinius. You've kind of spurred me on. I wasn't sure if I was going to do it on the next video. I was maybe going to do like this video or something else, but we'll see. Demon Primarch Sanguinius. Yeah, let's go. Yep, we're going to do that. I use Avatar of Cain, but that's 40k. AOS also has Avatar of Cain, but that's the one from the what's the name? Daughters of Cain. There we go. Got it. Is the new Lord Kroxigor? Yes. Yeah, I actually did. I have got my original idea was actually to do it with to do this kitbash with one of the Slam priests, and use was it the Neuro Tyrant or something like one of the new Leviathan miniatures, the big kind of brain bug, and kind of combining that. So I think that might have worked, but then I decided to use that to make a old school remake of Zoanthrope, so we might do that instead. We'll see. This is the trouble. I have lots of ideas. It takes about 2 weeks to do a video, and by the sounds of this stream, it takes me over an hour to build 2 legs, a tail, and part of a torso. So yeah, you can see this is the breakneck speed that I work with. All right, let's get those done. Get this glued, and we can have 2 legs done for the sprue. Josh Sport United, UTD. Good to see you live. It's good to be live. It's good being able to chat to everyone. What I'm also hoping to do with these as well, they're not all just going to be like hobby hangouts and builds. I'm going to hopefully have some kind of conversion clinic stuff going on as well. So if people have ideas for conversions that they want to do, I can give them some ideas. We can go through some kits together about what they could use, and maybe even have a look at some people's conversions that they've been working on, get some feedback and criticism, things like that. So if you're interested in that, then be sure to join the Discord. If you're a Patreon member or channel member or anything like that, you'll get priority to that as well. So another little benefit of being one of my supporters, literally helping keep my lights on, allowing me to afford internet to do these streams and uploads. So yeah, thank you very much to all you guys now for doing that. Let's join the foot. And then we might actually have something that looks like a Kroxigor. I need to clean some of these up. Another little tip that I don't often mention in the videos, but I probably should, is you can buy little plastic clamps. Let me find one now in this drawer. These little plastic clamps, these things. You can buy big bags on them pretty cheaply, and these are great just for if you have like a seam like that. So you can see the seam running down the center. Can we see it there? Now what you want to do is, if you just pop a little bit of glue directly into that seam, and you kind of make sure that you have these clamps, it'll actually start to squeeze out some melted plastic from that seam, so you can just scrape it clean and it kind of fills in the gap. Easy peasy. Top tip. Right, let's see. Wanted to ask, is there a range of test models you've made that you really wanted to expand on? I know you mentioned potentially turning some forces into full armies like the Death God Primaris, but I mean more things where you want to continue more outlandish designs along the same thread of the Eldar Lumineth fusions or the Chaos Dwarves, for example. So the biggest thing is obviously with me is I want to kind of cover as many of the ideas that I have as possible, and the problem is that once I've done the base model, so for like the Chaos Dwarves, Chaos Votan, for example, when you've done a single model, a lot of the design, a lot of the aesthetics, a lot of the techniques have already been demonstrated on that single model. So you don't always necessarily get as much from subsequent videos because it's taking those same methods and adding them to a different model, maybe adding a little bit extra to them. So it's quite hard to expand out into a full army that's worthwhile for people to view, especially when there's other ideas I could do. But in terms of personally, I would love to have a full Chaos Dwarf army. I would love to have lots of full armies of stuff that I do, but it just takes away a lot of time that I can be doing on exploring a lot of the other ideas that I have. And the more that I do expand ideas, obviously the more experience I get with kitbashing, and I can do more interesting things. So yeah, it's maybe at some point, now that I'm full-time, once I get into the habit of doing things, maybe we can use these streams as a way of me building out an army. That'd be good. The Leviathan box will be my first Warhammer purchase in 6 years. Is it easier to order in Games Workshop store or online? Now, I don't tend to order from Games Workshop unless it's the only place you can get it from, like one of those direct order things. I tend to get it from third-party sellers. I do have knowledge of people who have gone into a Games Workshop store and have better luck doing a pre-order there than they have done online. So maybe you could do that. Maybe you could head into the store if you've got a local one. Can't harm it. If you can say, what did you used to do as a day job? I used to be a web developer. I used to make customer service chat solutions for websites. As you can see, it's very exciting stuff, which is why I decided to do Warhammer. So my background is software development. So I used to be a web developer for quite a small company, so I ended up being it was kind of a little bit of a jack of all trades job. You had to do a lot of front end, back end work. It was a good job. I did enjoy the job, but I enjoyed this more. So no brainer. Right. He was MI6. I wish. That's a good idea, actually. For online, a neat trick is to pay for vouchers beforehand, so you can put in the item in the checkout and click purchase from there, so you won't have to fill out your card information, but you want to pay enough that covers for tax and shipping too. Yeah, the only thing is, I'm not sure how that works if it doesn't go through, because then you just suddenly have like a lot of money in vouchers in your account, which is, I mean, for most people, you're going to find something to buy, but if that's all you want to buy, you're kind of sinking a lot of money into it. Specifically 22, it used to be part of the SAS, yeah, specifically 22 SAS. Maybe the web developer just to cover. It's what other groups do, it helps speed up the process. Hello, sorry I'm late, Pete. How are we getting on? This is how we're getting on. That is the fruits of an hour and 13 minutes of stream time. It's going well. Let me just get this on there. It's going very well indeed. we'll get there. I've been chatting a lot. I've kind of missed having conversations with everyone over Twitch, so it's been good to chat with everyone. Web developer, aka he took care of the problems. The ironic thing is, well, on my marriage certificate, we had to go. So when I got married, I had to go to the registry office to register our intent to be married and fill out the forms, and you get interviewed by like a little old lady. I did. I'm not sure everyone gets interviewed by a little old lady. And she asked me what my job was to put down on the marriage certificate, and I said web developer. and obviously she had no idea what that was, so she wrote capital WEBB, like as in Michelin Web spelt. I was like, so yeah, and I'm apparently a web developer now, so that's a legal document that you can find in my local civic offices, I think, if you want to go and check it. It says that I'm a web developer, so I develop Michelin webs. Apparently, that's what I do. Always important to remember, in the UK, the store refreshes at 9:55 for pre-orders on Saturday, not 10. Yeah, I've seen a few people get on there a little bit earlier, so that's good advice. It's why sadly so many folks miss it. Yeah. We're building. I cannot confirm nor deny the speed of the build being quick, but we're building. It's pretty much, yeah. We're making progress. We started this with nothing, and now we have this. It's not much, but it's more than we had earlier. Right, instructions. Can we actually start assembling this guy now? We can. We can glue these together. Let's do some dry fitting first. That's a big old gap. Is that intentional? Ooh, that's not looking good. Right, let's fix that first. This is a good learning example. Okay, it's a teaching opportunity. We're going to put a little bit more glue into the seam here, so it's already dried for the most part, but it's not as good a fit as I'd like. So I'm going to use this glue. I'm going to try and get as much of it into there as possible without overspilling. And then I'm going to get a clamp. It's a bigger clamp this time. And I'm going to press that down. Oh, I'm bending that spike there. You can see it just starting to press together and squeeze out, so we can hold that in place for a little bit and let that dry. Oh, for God's sake. It's too powerful. Let's use the smaller ones. This works better on vehicles than it does on these kind of really oddly shaped models. So it's a good tip, I swear. Third time's charm. Web developer is your surname Parker. Now you'll laugh, but the company that I used to work for, the CEO was called Parker. So yeah. You had to build solutions as to whether or not it was being number one. Honestly, to be honest, some of the stuff that I did develop, it felt like that it was actually just giving a solutions to whether or not something was number one, but not. Little known fact about Pete the Wargamer: he was actually in the waste management business and took out the trash. He dealt with a lot of rats in his days. Is this against Twitch's guidelines? Am I going to get banned after doing the first stream? Apparently, he's an ex-cleaner for the mafia. We can actually glue these legs on whilst we're doing that. Look at that. So that's actually, you can see how we've kind of, what the plastic glue basically did there was it melted the bond a little bit, and then pressing it forward just helped to reseal it, so we've got a much more flush fit there. So that's a good little tip for you if you ever find yourself in those situations. Also a little bit of sprue tab that I've missed off there, so let's get rid of that first. Perfect. We can glue this leg on. So the next stream that I've got planned is Sunday, same time, 7 p.m. British summertime. And I'll probably just put this to one side and we can continue working on this, and then anyone who joins the stream the first time then will get to avoid all of this very boring part of the build where it's just me assembling a model and not doing any conversion work. And glue the next leg. We might actually be able to start doing some conversion stuff in a second. We can dream. I haven't skipped that far ahead in the instructions yet, so we can see. There we go. These guys are huge. I didn't actually realise how big they were. Let's get a Space Marine for comparison. Look at that. It's amazing. We could do some... Oh, I've got an idea. These would be great for like salamanders, like chaos possessed salamanders. You know how I have the 8-bound for Khorne? These could be like the salamander's 8-bound equivalent. I have to make a note of that. Let's make a note. So what I basically have a Google Docs list that's got lots of different ideas on there, and whenever I get an idea, I try to update it as quick as I can before the idea goes. Kroxigor Chaos Salamanders. Now, see, that would have been a better idea for the stream rather than doing Eldritch stuff, but I kind of committed maybe next time. I've got 3 in a box. Maybe we could do something else. We'll see. Dornian Heresy Sallies are technically black dragons. Yeah, that's an option. Vulcan literally turns into essentially a demon prince with a big dragon head. That would be perfect. It'd be great. I love the Lionel Johnson heresy. So I know there's the Dornian heresy. There's a Rebutian. No, hang on. Dornian, Rebutian. I think I've come across the L. Johnson heresy as well, but I'm not 100% sure on that one. Remind me of the basic gist of it. I know one of them is... I know one of them, Sanguinius, is Khorne. One of them is Nurgle. One of them, Gilman, is a separatist, and then the other one I think he is actually Chaos. And one of them, Butian, Lion, and Dornian is the big ones. The Lion Heresy is the one with the huge moral you see of all the traitors flipped. Yeah, I think that's the one that I've seen. There's an artist on Instagram that I follow, and I forgot what the name is, but they've been doing some really nice work. I think that one had... That's why I might have got the idea from the Comrade Kurz Loyalist video. I think. We'll see. Right, look at that. We've actually got a full model now. Right. Tail. We can attach the tail as well. Let's glue to the tail to the back. These actually go together really nicely. Well done. Well done, Games Workshop. And a bit of resistance there, so I think there might be a little bit of... No, okay, it's just like a little bit of a lip. Thank you very much for all the follows as well, guys. Much appreciated. Like I said, I'm going to be running these streams regularly for the next few months at least. So any subscriptions, follows, anything like that is greatly appreciated. Perfect. Wonderful. Let's put that in there. There we go. Right, what's next? How far? We're nearly 3/4 of the way through. So the next page would be to do the arms. Now I'm inclined to skip the arms for now because I haven't really got a great idea for the arms. I want to do something with the head first. So let's skip ahead for the head. We want to do the Warspawned head, which is this one. No, this one. So we need 110, 112, and 111. There's 110. 111. And then we need 112, which is that there. Perfect. I remember Dunin Sanguinius becoming Nurgle because Slanesh gets the Khan and turns him into a centaur. Yeah, so I kind of had there's some cool ideas that I've seen floating around for that one, which is using Kragnos as a basis, which would work pretty well actually. Let's go back to that. Perfect. Right. So this is kind of the bit now where we can actually start thinking about modifying these parts a bit and bringing in some parts. So this is the bit that everyone who tuned into this video to watch, this stream to watch, has finally got to. There's only 35 minutes left, so. So, as I mentioned earlier, we have Venomthropes. Now, my thinking for this particular kit here is these. Now, these come in two halves, which means that you can actually separate them out quite easily and attach them to either side. So my idea was maybe to go for them almost kind of flaring out from underneath the jawline, like coming out from there. So it keeps the same kind of Kroxigor themed head, but adds a little bit of extra gribbly eldritchness to it. So that's the plan with that one. This is probably going to be quite a simple, straightforward conversion, to be honest. There's going to be a few little things we're going to do probably in the painting phase as well. The painting phase. At the painting step to improve things a little bit, but I think for the most part we're going to be just adding a few tentacles, maybe modifying the weapon a little bit. I'm not sure how yet. So, right, let's clip away this head. And we need the other half as well. So it's 57. So, of course, it's not going to be in the same sprue. It's going to be in a different sprue. 57, 53, 56. I'm guessing that's the other half to that one. No? Maybe 58, maybe? Hang on, why are these heads like... Hang on, there we go. It's going to be one of these, isn't it? That's the one. Monkey Mind 33, thank you for the follow. Why is that not coming off the sprue? Why have I not cut that one? Okay, let's see. We've also got a few more like little tendrils and stuff which I might borrow from this kit. You've got all these like whip kind of tendrils as well, which might work quite nicely. Actually, it work really nicely for putting him just beneath these little armor plates there. You could have them emanating out from underneath and whipping around. That might actually be a nice idea. Okay. So we have these, and we have this head. So if we clip those out and attach them, I'm kind of thinking, I'm not sure if they go forwards to have like more of like a forward movement to them, or whether or not they should kind of flare out towards the back. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at. Let's move to the. Hopefully the audio works okay unless the microphone's too far away. Search for. So that was kind of the idea that I was going for. It's JH Miniatures. Welcome to the stream. How did your stream go? I know. What time did you finish yours? You were running yours a little bit early, weren't you? How did it go? Bloodborne. There's an electric lizard option. What was the name of the person? Someone tell me the name of that boss that someone suggested earlier. I want to have a look at it now. Moon Presence. Thank you. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, I remember that. I think I did something wrong. I didn't actually get to face this boss because I think what you have to do to trigger it didn't work for whatever reason. Yeah, that's what we want. Lots of tentacles. Dogbeast Paul is the lizard. I vaguely remember facing that one. It was the one that you fought in. Which one was this one? Oh yeah, I remember that one. I do remember that one. Look at that. Such a cool game. These are cool. This is like a comic book graphic novel. Nice. So yeah, this is the picture that I was basically looking at. I quite like this idea. It's not far off a Kroxigor, to be honest. It has that kind of head, these tendrils emanating. They're more kind of emanating from the neck and going down into the chest a little bit. So yeah, maybe. Thank you for the follow on, much appreciated. There's a few other ones on here as well. What's that one? See, again, there's a lot of these kind of tendrils just kind of coming out from the front here. Anything like Eldritch, you stick some tentacles or anything on there and it immediately works. What's this one? Oh, that's cool. That's nice. Quite like that one. It's got like an extra. Oh, that's cool. It's like a William T. Ottoman. Is that just a person who's? I can't find the original. I don't know if that's the original one. But it's got like a. I don't know if you can make that out. It's got like more of a human arm popping out there. Interesting. This is kind of how the conversions. Oh, that's pretty cool as well. Probably a little bit too involved that one is, but yeah, this is basically how these kind of conversions play out. I will often get to a certain stage where I have the model built at least to a basic standard, because the idea of it being that I can then compare components to this, I can see whether or not components work, they scale correctly, I can see what kind of size I'm working with, what kind of pose I'm working with, and I can make modifications as and when I need to. You can, if it's a Space Marine, I'm familiar with the structure of a Space Marine, the sizing of it. It's very easy to get everything lined up and working properly. But with a model that I haven't really worked with before, such as these like brand new ones, it's good to do a build up to a certain point, and you can always like modify stuff later on. Plastic glue holds stuff pretty well, so you can cut if you need to. If you do decide to cut some of these sections away or drill into them, a little bit harder, but not too bad. Tentacles out of the mouth. So yeah, I quite like that, but there's not an awful lot of space. So if we do that, we have a degree of space, I guess. So if we kind of that kind of thing. Let's bring that a bit close to the camera. Also, you could utilize some aspects of the axolotl and implement things like a more aquatic element in there, especially if you want some of the hardline Cthulhu mythos. Yeah, so radial tentacles and other feelers, paddle tails, etc. Have you played with Midjourney? I used generic pictures of miniatures. They looked awesome, and you could even see brush strokes on the base frame. I have played around with it a little bit. Sometimes it's good for getting concept ideas, but I quite like looking at actual like concept art, because sometimes when you see something that's made by someone tends to have more of a what's the word? I completely forgot the word. Deliberate. It's more deliberate in how it's been done. Someone's put together something together with an idea in mind. They want to structure it in a certain way. They want to build it in a certain way. And I find that a lot of AI lacks that. It's just kind of sort of there, and some stuff doesn't make sense, and some other stuff does make sense, and it's a little bit up and down. Whereas I quite like that a lot of these things have a narrative and like a background to them. But yeah, it's a good tool. It's like anything AI really. It's a tool at the end of the day. So I think I'm going to go for. I quite like the fact that the tendrils popped out. It's more as because I think that the problem is don't want it to look like a mutation. I want it to look more like it's been designed that way. It has these tendrils, but it's not just like mutated. It's not just chaos infested. It's actually sprouted out of the neck. It's actually always been there. It's always been part of the miniature. So I think linking them up into the torso then. So if we do a dry fit of this head here, and we pop that against the torso, we can see how much room we're working with. So we've got a little bit of room on this side, and not as much room on that side. So we might have to maybe have the tentacles coming out a bit more perpendicular from the neck like that. That might work better, I think. So that's that. I think we've kind of settled on the head. The other thing that we had obviously earlier was this tail piece that we didn't attach just yet. So we're going to maybe think of something else to do with that. In other news, I'm also going to hopefully use something from this Flesh Eater Core box, because there we go, the perfect part is already on top. So this part here, my favorite part in this kit. It's just a really cool little component you can use. I wonder if these can work. Are these a bit too small? Let's see how well these work. It's not bad. It could work with a bit of green stuff. I might have got it on camera. There you go. It lacks the scales, but it kind of, it's not bad. It's an idea, a potential idea for the future. Right, let's keep that sprue for the time being. We'll keep that to one side, and we'll dip into that in a second. Right. Let's get the head out of the way. Let's get it done. How long have we got? 20 minutes. I can stay for a little bit longer if we need to. Let's clean these tentacles. Oh, we don't need to do the whole head here. We just do a little bit. Again, this is one of those older kits that has the stronger mold lines, so luckily I'm not doing as much. J-Train Shores. Was it difficult to register as a creator for Games Workshop to get the boxes for promotion, etc.? So I think that the way I did it was probably very different than everyone else did, because I basically was in contact with Games Workshop years ago. And this is before they had any form of creator program, anything like that. It was back when they used to just literally the odd release, like a big release thing like the big centerpiece models that they used to release. They would maybe send one of those out to a few creators, and we would paint them up for an article. So I basically got asked to do one of those with them. And then from about 2020, 2021, something like that, they started pushing it out a little bit more to more people. And I was just kind of already on it, so I kind of just fell into it, really. I think I was just there quite early on. So I'm not sure how people go about it now. I'm not sure if they're approached. I'm not sure if they specifically reach out to Games Workshop. I'm not sure how it works. which is also interesting as well because obviously I have a degree of with anything like that, you have to sign contracts and non-disclosure agreements, stuff like that, because obviously you're working with stuff that's sometimes not been released yet. So you have to say, yeah, I'm not going to talk about it until it's been released. So you do have to be careful with what you talk about. But there was an NDA which was released. Was it like a year or two ago? It was like a leaked NDA or something like that, and everyone it was kind of the way it was written was, some people argued that it was basically just kind of standard NDA agreement stuff, and other people said that it's overly stringent, but it was very different than the NDA that I signed like 5-6 years ago. It was very, very different. The one I signed was literally a case of, if we tell you something secret, don't tell anyone else about it. Whereas this other one was a bit more like, oh, well, you can't insult Games Workshop, even though I know that people who maybe did sign that one do insult games, which I don't think anyone really bothers to enforce it, to be honest. So yeah, it's always fun to see the comments saying, oh, well, you signed an NDA, you can't say anything bad about Games. I can say a lot of things bad about Games Workshop. I think the way they handle stock is awful. I think they've been doing a terrible job. I don't think they do a good job at crediting the people who work on the stuff. So there's lots of things about Games Workshop. They release too much stuff. So yeah, that's my thoughts. Anyway, not sure how much sculpting you want to do, but one more consideration could be doing something like scallops, where you see thinner feelers and eyes along the edge of the shell, large scales on the back. That both implies that the big scales can actually move a bit outside typical expectations, and also lines up with the full like structure you see on other NIDs like the runs and the Space Marine trailer. A nice idea. I enjoyed that. Hot takes of Feet the Wargamer. This is why people join the stream. See, we've gone up to 56 viewers now. Those 14 people that left didn't get this. I mean, they'll get it on the VOD later on, but yeah. One thing I am quite pleased about, though, is that they didn't spoil my Caldor Drago with one of the community articles, because obviously I quite like putting a little pixelated version of it in the thumbnail just to entice people. Make it a bit of a surprise when the completed model's done. I mean, you can skip to the end of the video to see it if you want to. You don't have to wait, but it's like a little nice way of making that final model a surprise. But then Games will just keep releasing pictures of it in an article. So keep spoiling it. Next room range is just a blatant picture of Draco's. Yeah, that's going to happen, isn't it? It's going to be like, okay. So I remember I was talking to this about the painting phase. I'm not sure whether or not it's a case of, I mean, games which are working on stuff well in advance of their release. So I will be working on a kitbash, something like that, and that's probably already been designed. It's already been built. It's been in the pipeline to be made probably for about a year or two before I even make a video on it. And then when they come along and announce that, oh, we saw that you did a Halbrecht miniature and now we're releasing an updated version of it, that model has already existed. It's already been there for a while, but it's a fun little joke to say that Games Workshop keeps stealing my ideas. So what is that bit? Right, okay. Can we attach these two parts together now? Yes. So There is a small little, tiny little strip, tiny little tongue thing here. And I think we can probably do something a little bit. Should be a little bit longer. Can we grab something from another kit? Maybe one of these. How many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've got 8 of these. Wait, I've got even more. 1, 2. Oh, there's quite a few of these actually. So I could easily take some of these like whips and use them kind of like as a tongue, I guess. Let's see. Oh, that's quite nice. Yeah, that might work. Let's go for that. Right, so we're going to do a little bit of filming again now. So I hope you're getting an idea of how much work ends up going into building a miniature for a video. So far, the only thing I've filmed is clipping parts of the sprue and cleaning them up. That's all I've done so far. I've been doing 2 hours of work. That's how long I take to make videos. Right. Twitch streams available latest view again. Yes, I will be putting them as uploading them as a VOD. I'm not sure if I'll be uploading it to my YouTube channel as one, because things like that can affect the way YouTube does the algorithm and stuff like that. So I'm not 100% sure if I will do. Ollie Harding, hello, welcome to the chats. You're enjoying it towards the tail end of this, but I hope you enjoy the last few minutes that we have together. For, well, that sounds dramatic. I'm gonna be on it for a little bit longer. I'm gonna be on it Sunday and next week. So it sounds really dramatic. The last few minutes we have together. It sounds like some sort of meteor heading for the Earth that I've not told you about. So Joe Painter, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. What are we on follower-wise? 452 followers. Thank you everyone who has followed on the stream. Thank you everyone who remained followers, considering the last stream that I did was February 2022. You stayed a follower on here. You were one of the channels that inspired me to start making videos, Pete, and I can attest it's fiddly business. A long process. Yeah, it is. It's one of those things, it's quite interesting. I mean, anyone who builds miniatures knows how long it takes, but I think there's a lot of stuff that goes into videos that not everyone realizes. As things like scripting, editing, choosing music, choosing a way to start the video, a way to end the video, all these little things that you have to consider. So there's a lot of stuff with making videos that you don't always necessarily think about. Oh, the recipes. So these are basically so you would have like 3 parts paint to like 1 part water for a base color. For an edge highlight, it'd be 3 parts paint and then half a part of water, and then recesses 3 to create a wash. Basically, I'm not sure. I suppose it's more like a panel line, I guess, in a way, rather than a wash. That's a wash. So yeah, it's quite handy. I don't think I've actually used a lot of these. I've definitely used base color, but I've never really tried to do like a recess by using that much water. Ooh, man, we'll see. Interesting. Although apparently this is what confuses me: a glaze and a wash are the same. Maybe. Someone called Bruce Willis and Liv Tyler. I've got the exact same mat. Yeah, it's the Redgrass Games mat, which is I'll just shimmy this down. Give us a nice clear surface to work on. Right, so let's go ahead with this. Let's at least try to do some degree of conversion in the stream. If I can get this in the stream, then I feel like I've achieved something, and we can resume. We can pick it up, and everyone who joins the stream next time will be thinking, "Oh wow, look, I skipped all the boring bit where he was just clipping away components and cleaning them up." Right, I don't need all of this. I don't need to clean the whole thing. I just need to clean the area that I'm actually going to be using. Saves a little bit of time. So now we're going to do a little bit more filming. So this is how we do it. So the first thing I do is I clear my area, make it a nice empty frame, and then I'm going to take the parts and actually let's show this torso first, because then we can be like, okay, I built it up to this point. So film, we hit record. We'll just sit here for a few seconds, hold that there like that. So are you building one Tyranid Kroxigor or multiple? I'm probably going to build maybe one on stream and then maybe off stream build a couple more. I quite like building units to paint. It takes a bit longer, but it's quite nice to see the 3 at the end. Right, so that's enough filming for that section. And then we're going to film me showing these parts. So we're going to be like... So for this next section, I took the heads of a... What's it called? Warspawned Kroxigor and the tendril arm from a Venomthrope. I'm going to hold that a little bit longer than I need it to, because you need to give yourself a little bit of buffer room in case the script goes over. Perfect. Like that. And then we can actually start recording. So what my plan is basically to have the end of this tendril coming out the mouth there. So what we might need to do is kind of make it a little bit longer like that, so the blades don't kind of curl in, and we'll probably need to trim down this end a little bit, narrow it out so we can get it into that mouth. That should give us a decent effect. J Train Shores, if money and time was no issue, do you have a guilty pleasure project you would like to do? I would very much like to do a full Raptors army, full on. Everything's tactical. There are pouches everywhere. There's pouches on the tanks, pouches on the models. Everything pouches. Full, as big an army as I could get. That's what I'd love to do. I really enjoy doing the kill teams. So I think we can get away with gluing this head together first. It shouldn't matter too much. We can probably trim down the tendril more to go into there. So let's do that first, and then we'll do a little bit of a film of this bit as well. Big Chungus Gaming, thank you for following. Appreciate it. Again, we're going to use that clamp as well, because we've got this seam going down the top. A little bit too much glue. We want to make sure that we get as much glue in there as possible as well, because when we clamp it together, that's going to take a little bit of the plastic with melted plastic with it, and it's going to squeeze it out. And then when we scrape it back later on, it's going to help us avoid that mold line down the center, that kind of seam. So there's not quite enough glue at the top there, you can see. See how it's a little bit more of a defined gap compared to this down here? We just pop a bit more in there, like so. Right, perfect. I'll get the clamp on that. A little bit on the nose as well, so let's pause the record there. Pop a little bit of glue in that gap. Will this work? It didn't work. I think I have a small one somewhere. There we go. Let's put that in there. I could do some smaller clamps really, but I struggle to find any more. Yeah, that'll do. Right, we'll hold that. Oh, they are. Oh, yeah, this is the stuff behind the scenes that you don't see in the normal videos. Clamps are good. They're better on some models than they are on other models. But yeah, what I'll do is I'm just going to clean up this thing. I think there's an ad going to start soon. I don't really know how it works. There's ads on this apparently. I don't know, so we'll see in a bit. I'll just do some scraping so you don't miss anything interesting. I think anyone who's subscribed doesn't see the ad though, so I don't know how this works. If you're a subscriber and you can see me, great. Hello, welcome to your subscriber only section. if there isn't an ad running, and I have no idea what this notification is, it's just popped up to say there's an ad running. That's interesting. Again, we're all learning Twitch together today. I still haven't figured out how to stop the audio of my own voice coming through the headphones. I think it's something to do with monitoring, but I can't remember how to disable it. I'm not going to waste time on the stream doing it either. Bathlori, finally the Bob Ross of Kitbashing Live. Thank you very much for joining. I do appreciate you joining the stream. Unfortunately, you're joining in the waning minutes of the stream. I'm probably going to keep it a little bit longer just so I can get this little bit done, because it'll be nice to see this. Did just see an ad. Welcome back. No idea if there was one or not. Right, okay, so last thing that I want to get done in here is try and get this bit here. So we're going to do a check against that head now. I'm going to make sure that we're cutting enough of this tendril off so this little bottom claw doesn't intersect. So I think if we cut off a little bit less than we need, we can always add more. So if we make the cut around about there. So I'm going to start the recording so we can all see it. So this is the bit there. And then I compared the components to make sure where I need to make the cut. Then, using my clippers, I remove the end of the tendril and made a quick comparison against the part. At this point, I could see that I could. You can tell I've done a lot of these videos by now. And I'm sure if you watch a lot of the videos, you probably know exactly what I'm going to be saying at any given point. Okay, I'm recording. That's good. Right, so we need to trim down maybe just a little bit more down to here. We're going to save these actually, because the thing is about those, we can actually use them as tendrils. We can scrape them out. So we've cut away too much now. What I might do is I might remove that inner tendril, just so it's that inner spike, sorry, that clawed section. So smooth it out. Like so. Maybe make the tongue go sideways. I could do. Yeah, actually, it's quite a nice idea. I actually think it looks better just with the two. It kind of looks maybe a little bit like, it would be hard to imagine what that tongue would actually, how it would stay in the mouth, to be honest. Do you ever do any of your voiceover as you go, or is it all in post? Yeah, everything's in post. The only time that I ever did it, that I've done it as I'm recording the video, is I used to do it ages ago. I used to record directly into the camera as I was filming, so everything was literally just taking the shot, putting it together, and I started doing voiceovers afterwards. And then the last video that I did a bit of face cam, which is like my new setup that I've got. So I did this. I basically recorded into my microphone at the same time and then put them together. But most of the time it's scripted. Most of the time it's after the fact as well. Alright, it's actually lining up quite nicely already. So just pause that recording just to add a little chapter point to there. And start recording it again. And what we're going to do here is just going to scrape off the end of that just to remove that sharp edge, and that'll help us to add it into the mouth. Let's use the file, that'll be easier. we go, perfect. And we're going to add a little bit of glue to that, not too much. And then pop that in. So, try and lift it up above the mouth as best we can. Come on, autofocus, there we go, perfect. Just hold that for a little bit. Right. Okay. Ollie Harding, loving the new setup by the way, thank you very much. And nice to see your face featuring more in videos. So this is the problem. I was basically just this for so many videos, and then I would go to an event and I would be like, oh, if you're at the event, come say hi, and then I realised that no one knew what I looked like. So it ended up being a case of who even is he? What does he look like? And other people, yeah, only hands current TV, yeah. But then I thought, well, Games Workshop have started doing that now. They've gotten rid of their like to-face presenters now, so it's not cool anymore. I did it first, and Games Workshop copied me. This is another part of the process, you know, we see like the neat cowboy hat picture helped locate you. Yeah, I hope they won't need to do that again, but I kind of feel like it's going to end up being running joke. I still wonder if Auspex Tactics is some sort of sophisticated that we don't know. It might not be a real person. It could be completely computer generated. I know that Kabuski is actually an AI. He keeps claiming he's a real person called Ben, but he's not. He's a kitbasher that you can basically feed prompts into, and then he'll do like a digibash of it. Honestly, leave a comment. Tell him that. Kabuski on Instagram. Kabuski's 100% KSI. He was actually in the stream. I don't know if he still is, but if he is, all right, okay, that's nearly dry. I'm going to leave that for a bit just so we can leave it to dry fully. Get this little stand here. This is quite a good little tool as well. This little paint pot with some blue tack on there, because you can angle the part so that it dries in the way that you want it to. If you place it on the surface, it can add pressure to things. But if you kind of just stick it in, you can hold it at the angle that you need it to. I'll probably clean these parts up off stream as well, just to get rid of these little gaps and things. But yeah, I still have nightmares about that egg dreadnought. Yeah, it was great, that was. If X and Y kits obtained, then combine them to form Z. It's literally that easy for Whiskey prompts. It really is. He does a good job though. Some of the stuff, if you didn't know, like I've actually had a look. Some of the stuff I've just been scrolling through and I've seen it pop up, and I've been like, oh, that's a good kitbash. Someone did a good job of that, and then I realized actually it's just a Photoshop. But he's the biggest problem with doing those kind of things, those kind of Photoshop digibashes, is that your scales don't always match up, because sometimes the pictures are taken in different sizes, so you have to kind of line up the bases, but sometimes depending on what lens they've used, it can affect stuff, so stuff doesn't always work well in a picture, or it might work in person and not work in a picture, or vice versa. So it does do a good job of scaling everything up. Right, we're at 9:05. BST, we've been running the stream for just over 2 hours now. Thank you very much for everyone who's joined. We didn't do an awful lot. Let's just get all this back in. The fruits of life. We have a Kroxigor torso, and we have a Kroxigor Warspawned head with a tongue emanating from it. So that's all we have done so far. But this is often the slowest part of the video. Of any video that I work on, this is usually the part where it's usually the most boring part. So when I did, going back to these guys that I'm still working on at the moment, the first thing I did was take all of the torsos off the sprues, clean them all up, get them all lined up, and it took me probably a good day's worth of work to get everything prepped and decide on the components that I wanted to use. So this is always the most boring part, is that initial part of the kit bash where you haven't decided, but once you start adding stuff, you can see, okay, well, I can add more stuff there, I can add more stuff here. So thank you for sticking with it. I do appreciate it. Maybe in future streams, if I get the time, we can maybe skip some of this bit. I can do some of this before the stream starts, if that's preferable. But yeah, thank you very much for everyone who has joined the stream today. I do appreciate everyone for joining, everyone who has subscribed, everyone who has given me bits, everyone who's given me a follow. Thank you very much. There is another stream on Sunday. Let's go full face cam. There we go. Hello everyone. You can see my lovely new decorated office with my helmets, and you can see Comrade Kerr's there. Look at that. He's there. And Yarrick as well. Yeah, so thank you very much for everyone to joining the stream this evening. I am going to cool down because it's very warm in this office at the moment. But yeah, thank you very much for joining. I will see you on Sunday, so if you followed, make sure you look out for the notification. It will be the same time, 7 p.m. BST, so whatever that is in relation to your own time zones. So yeah, thank you very much for joining. Again, I've said it about 5-6 times now, and I will see you in the next one.